All right, we're just going to do a couple little finishing touches on this RGB validation program, RGB Colors, to make it a little slicker, make it run a little smoother. So the first one is I'm actually going to go to my index.html, and I wanted to show you that when we have these input elements here, when they are of type number, it gives us that little arrow, those arrows, right, that we can change. And there is actually a little bit of validation stuff that we can do right inside of our HTML. We can add a min attribute, and we'll do 0. We can add a max attribute of 0. And we can also do a step attribute. And the step attribute, see how this is changing by 1? It basically tells it how much it should change by every time I click it. So just to speed things up, I'm going to change it to like 5 maybe. Okay. And I'll copy and paste this so that it can apply to all of these input elements. Okay, so let's run that. And what you'll notice now is when I click down, uh-oh, what just happened? Ooh, something's broken. Oh, I love it when I break things. Okay, what did I do? Let's hit run one more time to make sure what I do. Min is 0, max is 0. Oh, duh. The max is 0. So it was constraining it to be 0, of course. You guys were probably laughing away saying, Mr. Velkan, what are you doing? Why are you setting the max to 0? Okay, let's try that. Max 255. So now when I hit down, there we go. Right, so what happened the first time, right, is I hit this and it said, oh, it's 250. That's not allowed. The max is 0. Anyway, so this now counts by 5s. And if I go up, you'll notice it'll stop there, right? It won't allow me to keep doing it. Same here, I can go up, but I can't go down. Now you think, okay, well, if that's all I had to do, why did we write all that JavaScript code and these if statements to check the values and blah, blah, blah? Well, the reason for that is because that's great. It stops the arrows, but the user can still type 355, right? And that still is allowed, technically, right? So that when I hit preview, my JavaScript is required to constrain it. It just stops these arrow things from going beyond the min and the max. Okay, anyway, I just thought that was cool. It's an extra feature that kind of helps the user not do anything dumb. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you was I actually showed this program to my son, and he was right away like, Dad, why do they have to click preview? That's dumb. Can't they just change this and it automatically updates? And I didn't want to do it right away because I didn't want to do too much at once. Our main focus here is variables and if statements, right? But I'm going to show you guys we're going to get rid of this preview button, and we're going to run this function here where it updates everything whenever we change this thing. Okay, so let's start by going into here, and we're just going to find that preview button. There it is, and we're just going to delete that. And then in our JavaScript, we don't need this preview button anymore, and we don't need this event listener anymore. But we do need event listeners. So I need an event listener on each of these input elements. And I want to have a event listener for whenever I change them. Now there's two things, and actually I'm going to try both of them, I think. I think we have time for this. So I nicely have this red input element selected already. So I can just go red input element variable dot add event listener. And instead of click, there's all sorts of different events that are possible here. There's click right there, but there's also one called change. Let's try that one. And when this input element is changed, I want to run this function. Okay, as easy as that. Because what this will do now is it'll get the values, validate them, and then build a string and output the result. Okay, whenever I change this element. Let's try that. So I change this, and is that working? That is totally working. To full green. Okay, if I add it back again, red and green. Oh, okay, see, you know what? Okay. So if I hold it down, it doesn't recognize the change until I actually let go of it. What if I type something? If I go 0, 255. So it's not doing it as I type, but it's doing it once I hit like enter or I click away from it. then it updates. So if I did a little research, there's also another event type called input. And I think the input one is whenever you actually just modify the value. You don't have to like submit the change by hitting enter. So now if I hold this down, you'll see that it constantly updates whenever this value changes. So that's a little slicker, I think. Oh yeah, and then all I have to do is do the same thing. Actually, why don't we just copy and paste? So Control C and then Control V, and we'll add event listeners to the green and the blue input elements as well. So really not actually a big deal, just making you aware that there's more than just click events. This input event registers whenever the value inside of an input element gets changed. Run this code. So now I can change this, we can change this, increase the amount of blue. Beautiful. We can also type still, right? Whoops. Something happened there. If I go 0, that's great. It's still validated, right? If I try negative, well, negative, oh, you know what? It won't even let me type negative 50 because this code here is running every time I try to change the value. So if I hit negative and then a 5, it automatically goes to 0 because it says negative 5 is not allowed. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so this is a pretty slick program, right? We can type stuff in. Let's try to make everything 80. That's a nice gray. Play around with whatever you want here. Change values like this or type them in. It stops you at the maximums and mins. If you try to type too big of a value, oh, hold on, come on, 350. Oh, that's right. The blue's not working. You were supposed to do the blue one. I just did the red and the green. Anyway, so finish off that blue, make it good, and that should be it for RGB colors for a while. Okay, hope that makes sense. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.